The 2024-25 Women's Super League is on the horizon. In preparation, we're previewing every single team and discussing how they'll shape up over the next campaign. We take a look at the transfer business conducted by the teams so far and offer suggestions of who else they should move for before the season gets underway. Now we're on to Crystal Palace. Promoted to the WSL as winners of the Women's Championship last season, Crystal Palace will be keen to show the quality of the second division by mixing it with the big guns. We show why there's reason for optimism in the Palace camp and how Laura Kaminski can steer them clear from the drop. This is our 2024-25 season preview for Crystal Palace. Alright, let's talk about Crystal Palace then. The WSL's latest side to join from the Women's Championship, obviously promoted last season as winners of the Women's Championship. A very good season and a very difficult league, Harry.
Yeah, very much so. I think you have to give them a lot of credit. It was a 4-5 team fight to get to that one promotion spot. Palace got it on the final day, winning by a point, and it's a brilliant achievement. Great to have them in the WSL, and I think they're going to bring a fight this year that perhaps we haven't seen the last few years from the likes of Bristol City and Reading, and if that happens, it could be a very, very tasty relegation battle. But yeah, congratulations to Crystal Palace. They deserve to be here. They won what was a very, very tough league, a very, very tough fight. A lot of top teams in that Women's Championship side. They're the ones, this Palace side are the ones who got the promotion, and hopefully they're going to give this season a very good go.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it'll be an achievement in of itself to put up less of a fight than Bristol City did, but
yes,
I think they'll be competitive this season. I'm optimistic. So they play a 4-3-3, at least they did in the Women's Championship. I wouldn't be surprised to see that shape change. We've seen a few teams come up and play a 5-back system. We've seen teams like Everton survive by playing systems like that. So I won't be hugely surprised to see that. But I would quite like to see Crystal Palace give it a go, because their 4-3-3 system in the Championship that really relies on wide overloads and crossing the ball in has been interesting to watch, and I'd be intrigued to see how it would translate to the WSL. But I do understand that it can be very difficult, the WSL. It's a tough league, and trying to play that brand of football might not work in this division. So I can see why a switch to a 5-back formation or something like that might be preferred for Kaminski. But yeah, let's talk about Laura Kaminski. It's her first senior role in management. She joined last summer, and last summer saw a real revamp for Crystal Palace. They were into a new stadium as they had to play on a grass pitch for WSL standards. Yeah. They had a lot of young players join the side and obviously a new manager at the helm. And that's led to this fantastic Women's Championship campaign where they find themselves bumping up to the WSL.
Yeah, very much so. A brilliant season. I think Kaminski deserves the plaudits for guiding this Crystal Palace side to the top tier. I think she's clearly has shown she's a very, very capable manager. She's learnt from the very best in and around the WSL, and clearly that is transpiring to her own managerial career, and hopefully she can use that experience of the league that she had at more of an assistant role, and can use that to help her now and to help this Palace side hang on in there in this division.
Yeah, definitely so. Now we're going to look at their transfers in a moment, but I think it's worth caveating this by talking about the business they haven't done. So they on loan last season, they had Ria Percival and Demi Lambourne, the Leicester goalkeeper. Neither of them have been renewed as of yet. Now, obviously, we've seen with Lexi Potter recently, that was renewed, and we're going to touch on that in just a moment. But yeah, so neither of those players will be there next season for Crystal Palace. Let's look then at some incomings. We'll start, though, with the outgoing. So what Palace have been doing in the market so far? So a lot of players have left, but nobody really of note. A lot of squad players, a lot of rotation players, so we'll run through them all. Polly Doran has joined Linköping FC. Anna Philby's gone to Watford. Shauna Guyat has gone to Ipswich Town. Annabelle Johnson's retired from football. We've got Natalia Negri's gone to Ipswich Town as well. Ellie Noble to Blackburn. Kirsten Riley to Hibernian. And Fran Kitching without a club. None of them were key players in their promotion fight last season, unsurprisingly. None of them has chosen to leave. I think it's a lot of players who weren't really going to cut the standard in the WSL, so have either been let go on a free or have transferred to another club where they will get a lot more minutes. So no big losses there, but a lot of players in there who did play a part, if not a major one, in the promotion push.
Yeah, I mean, all of them have either made a sidestep to another Women's Championship side or have gone down to the National League below. So which makes sense why you'd leave some of those players who are playing two leagues below the WSL. There's a reason they've Rusev left.
Or to Norway, I believe, in the case of Polly Dora.
Yeah.
I think that's where Linkoping are.
different.
There might be Sweden. I always get those where Linkoping are mixed up. But yeah, either way, she's off to Scandinavia. I'm sure she's going to have a great time. Let's look at incomings, though, because Palace did have to have a lot of business to do in this window. They've lost those 8 players. They lost a lot of the loanees they had from last season, so they had some business to get done. And they have been busy in the market, and I think they have brought in some real quality players. We'll start at the top of the list then with Katrina Veja. This is a really good signing. Katrina Veja signing from Everton. She's joining on a free transfer, a player who has a lot of WSL experience. This is really important. As we look at her FBref profile on screen now, yes, her tackles and aren't that high. If you look at her progressive passes, her progressive carries, her passes completed, and her percentage of aerials won, they're all really high statistics there. And that's amongst players in the top 9 competitions. So she ranks really high for those passes completed. And she's the type of sign that makes me believe Palace might gamble on themselves being able to play a 4-3-3 system in the WSL.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, sometimes the best form of defence. The attack is the best form of defence, and maybe by actually going into games and trying to play football could work. And I think the signing of Veja really shows that. But it's a brilliant deal to bring in a player who is so calm and composed in possession, but also just all round on the pitch is just very calm. And I think the experience that she carries in the league, I mean, that is a massive thing that I think the other promoted sides of recent years have lacked massively. Is that WSL experience. To bring in a decent centre half who has that experience, it's a very good deal.
Yeah, not only a player with a lot of WSL experience, but a player with a lot of experience in general. She's played numerous international appearances, so yeah, I think she's a player who will be really solid for them this season. Then in goal, they have upgraded. Well, they've made a signing of Shea Yanez coming in from Bristol City. Now, whether or not that's an upgrade from Demi Lambourne or not, I think you could make an argument, either way there. They needed to sign a goalkeeper, and I think Yanez is a capable goalkeeper.
Yeah, very much so. It's one of those that it's a position they needed. It's the most important position on the pitch, really. The goalkeeper. Get that done early in the window. It's a decent addition.
Yeah, definitely. So then on the right wing, a big signing, India Paige Riley joining from PSV Eindhoven. As we can see on screen now, her career so far, 22 years old. She started off the Kiwi. Don't want to get those two mixed up. Playing in Australia, that's why. Playing for Brisbane Roar. She then had a brief stint at Hjorring before returning to Brisbane, and then she went to PSV Eindhoven for a season last year. Now she's joining Crystal Palace. Exciting transfer for her, coming into the WSL. Exciting transfer for Palace. Is this the kind of deal that keeps them in the league?
Potentially so. I think she's a very, very talented player, still quite young as well. It's a big step. It is a very big step up from Netherlands 2 to the WSL. It's going to be very interesting how she handles that, but she's shown before that step from Australia to Netherlands, she handled that very well. So I think this is a very positive deal for her. To be the best, you've got to beat the best. So to be chucked into the WSL at only 22, it could pay off massively for her. And I think if Palace are to stay up, she's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, and she very much suits what they like to have in a wide player, in that she's right-footed playing on the right wing. She's going to get to the touchline, look to cross rather than cut inside. And we saw last season that their attackers are very capable at getting the ball in the back of the net when it's in the air. So they're very good in the air. And I think that India Paige Riley suits exactly what they want from a right winger. So good signing. And while I rate Sharp, I think that India Paige Riley will come in and be an upgrade in that position. Then we've got Ashley Weirden coming in from Ajax. This is a rotation left back or another option left back. I expect she will start. It's close between her and Gibbons, but I think she will start in that role. She's a player with a fair bit of experience. Obviously, has played UWCL football with Ajax, which I think will be really crucial. And having players like that who've played a lot of football, I think will be a really nice thing for Kaminsky's side. So good time.
Very, very sensible. As you say, you're bringing a player with a wealth of experience who's played at the top level of the women's game. She might not be the best quality player, but she's still a very, very good player, and just brings that. She knows what it's like to play in high pressure, very, very tough, high up leagues.
Yeah, definitely. So the next up, I am definitely going to butcher this name. So apologies if you do know how to pronounce this. Do let us know in the comments below. But I believe it is Mila Gale. I've got to guess. She's coming in from North Carolina Courage. Now, she plays up front, so she's going to be a nice rotation option with Elise Hughes, who was fantastic in the Women's Championship last season. So I think this is a nice sign. They definitely needed another option in there. And so, yeah, I completely understand this. She's 24, she's got a bit of NWSL experience, but isn't like a top player. But coming across the WSL, it's going to be a chance now for her to flourish in this newly promoted side. And it's a type of signing where if they were to go down next season, she would take the Women's Championship by storm. So I can see a little bit of future planning there. But I think Palace's aim is to stay up. They've got the squad there to make a really good go of it. And they've made some great signings as well. Mila Majasari coming in from Anderlecht, while having a fantastic name, won't be a huge part of the team. I believe she'll come in as either a second or third choice goalkeeper. So not a huge part of the team, but is a player who can come in and make a difference. Josie Green coming in from Leicester City is going to be a really nice rotation option at centre-half. I don't think she'll start over Everett, but she'll definitely offer some competition and a bit of rotation. If they were to play a 5-back, I think she's the most likely to come in and start there, though they could easily go Nolan as well. I think Vea and Everett, though, seem fairly nailed on. But yeah, they've got some good backups, as we're going to talk when we get into their full squad. And we've got Mi Kato, who will play defensive midfield, but she can also play a slightly more advanced midfielder role. She can also play on the left wing, where they do need a little bit more rotation. So she's, very versatile player, being able to play defensive midfield, a more creative midfielder, and on the left wing. Clearly very versatile. And I think having players like that, who are like Swiss Army knives, they give you loads of different options from one player. That's really useful. That versatility is really useful, and it means they can have her on the bench and know they've got coverage in defensive midfield, in central midfield, in left wing. They've got loads of options there. Then we've got the big deals, the loan deals, both from coming in from Chelsea. Got Georgia Fox, which is a really nice way to replace Rhea Percival. I think that Fox is a player who will come in and make a big difference this season, plays right back. I highly rate her, and she's obviously highly rated if she's in the Chelsea academy, so I think it's a really good signing. And then the really important one, Lexi Potter returning. She was on loan with Palace last season, was absolutely sublime in the Championship, a huge part of how they play in that defensive midfield role. She was integral in build-up and will be once again this season, especially if they are looking to build up. They've got some really good players on the ball, players like Katrina Vea, Virden, Everett and Georgia Fox in that back line. They've got players like that who can play on the ball, and with Lexi Potter in that defensive midfield role, I think they're going to have a team that can definitely play football. So I'm expecting them, maybe they won't against the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea, but when they're playing Brighton and Leicester and West Ham, I think they will line up a little bit more aggressively, and I think they'll take the game to them, because Palace definitely can. So I'm very excited. Let's see how this team lined up then on the squad screen. There's still a noticeable lack of bodies, I would say, in that it's a very small squad. I think if they were looking to do any more business towards the end of the window, they might look at another right back, they might look at another attacking midfielder. They will probably be okay in those regards because they have got players who can cover those positions. But I think right back for me would be fairly pivotal. On left wing, I've only got one on the screen, but obviously Kato can play there. So let's start from the back. In goal, they've got options of Yanez, Majasari and Wright. Shea Yanez is definitely going to come in and be that first choice goalkeeper, I believe. And then the other two will be nice rotation options. But yeah, I think in that position, it's good to have one certified number one goalkeeper. Now, a couple other teams in the league who've got one or two, and that becomes a bit of a discrepancy. Who starts, who's benched? Can that be a source of disapproval, disagreement? I think having a nailed-on number one goalkeeper is really useful. Then a back four, right back, they've only got Fox, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe another option in there could be quite nice. If they were to be able to look at Rhea Percival and perhaps convince her to leave Tottenham permanently, that could be a really nice move. Right centre half, as I mentioned, Everett and Green, really strong rotation there. Same at left centre half, Vea and Nolan. Nolan was huge in them coming up last season, traditionally a midfielder, but she has been transformed into a left centre half last year. So again, another bit where we saw from Laura Kaminski taking a player who probably wouldn't have been integral considering Lexi Potter played defensive midfield, and dropping her back has really reinvigorated her because it means they've got a player who's really comfortable in possession at centre half, and Nolan's had a really good season. Then left back, Virden and Gibbons, both really nice rotation there. I think Virden will start, but again, that one's really close for me. Then we've got the midfield three. In defensive midfield, Lexi Potter will come in and start most matches. I'm really interested to see how she will handle that step up. We saw her play a bit in pre-season, playing for Chelsea. Do you think she'll handle that step up well?
I think so. It's a tough one because, as you know, she's a brilliant player. We know that, and she's been obviously A, has played for Palace, and B, has been involved in an environment that wins trophies at Chelsea. In terms of she's done most of pre-season with Chelsea. She's been involved in that setup. We've seen her go to the USA Tour, but it can be different. I'm very intrigued to see whether it will translate. If she can take her experience from not only playing for Palace but also from being in such a skilled environment at Chelsea, if she can do that, she'll be phenomenal. She'll have a great season, and if Palace were to stay up, then we'd be looking at Potter as one of the main reasons for that happening.
Yeah.
Hopefully she can bring those skills across, and she can bring that quality. There's a reason she's at Chelsea permanently, because Chelsea, if you're involved at Chelsea, you've got to be a good player. If Potter can show that she's on for a brilliant season.
Yeah, I think if it weren't for Vika Kaptein being there, I think Chelsea may have kept her as another rotation option, but there are just a couple too many midfielders there. Do you think it's better for her personal development that she's at Crystal Palace than Chelsea this season, where she will have regular starting minutes? Or would a Chelsea rotation option be better?
I think it would depend on what quality she would deliver, because for me, is she at that Aggie Viva-Jones level where she's going to come into the team in cameos and then play so well that she's going to demand a spot? I don't think she's ready for that yet. So I do think, saying that Palace are now in the top tier, I definitely think it's right for her. It makes sense. She's getting the chance to prove herself against the best teams in the world, but she's not doing it in one of those best teams, which I think will help her slightly.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that we saw with Brooke Aspin last season playing for Bristol City, despite the fact they got relegated, that full season of WSL football, that's invaluable experience. So I think in that regard, Lexi Potter, regardless of how well Crystal Palace do this season, is going to gain a lot in personal development, and then she'll go and fight for a place in pre-season next year with Chelsea. If Chelsea are in a situation where they don't need her, then I think that Crystal Palace would be desperate to sign her, because she's a fantastic player, but I do think she's got a future with Chelsea.
And this Palace environment that they've built through their recruitment, both defensively and in the forward areas of the pitches, bringing in this experience, the wealth of experience they now hold, is crucial, not only for their season, but also to their young players, like your Potters, like your Rileys. They're going to learn so much, not only playing in the WSL, but playing with their teammates, because their teammates have played all over, in Europe. They've played, in the WSL before. They know what it's like. They're going to learn a lot from them.
Yeah, definitely. So the other defensive midfield option in there is Kato. Now, her and Arthur can both, you could put them either way in this midfield three. I think they'll both rotate into the side either way. I think they'll start with a midfield three of Potter, Hopcroft and Blanchard. That's how they tended to play last season. I think they'll keep it the same. I don't think they've brought in anyone that disrupts that. Arthur was a good backup last year, and Kato will come in and do a similar role. Kato, I'm not sure how you pronounce Mike Kato's name, but yeah, they've got a nice midfield three there. I think that it's quite well set up. I moved Blanchard further forward in this just so you could differentiate between the more defensive midfielder, the engine room type player, which is how I would sort of describe Hopcroft, and then that attacking midfielder who gets involved with the contributions, which is how I would describe Blanchard. On the right flank, then, it's a battle between Riley and Sharp. Sharp played every game pretty much for them last season, was a really integral part of them coming up. I do think, though, unfortunately, well, for her, not for Palace really, India Paige Riley is going to come in and be an upgrade in that position.
Yeah.
There will still be rotation minutes, and I'm sure Sharp will do well in those minutes. She's also going to probably play the cup competitions and stuff like that, so they can rest players. So still going to be a really useful squad member, but she's definitely going to see a decreased amount of game time this season.
It's one of the hardest things to do as a promoted side, because you look at it and you go, whoever it is, whatever player, you go, they were brilliant for us last year. They're one of the reasons we got up. But we're in a better league now. There's a better option out there. So unfortunately, you have to come in and you're going to bring that better play in, and you're going to see a player who gave you so much last year not play as much. It is a shame, but unfortunately, it's how football works. Really, if you progress, your team's got to progress as well. But as you say, Sharp, she'll still play a big role as part of the squad, as a member of the side who's been at Palace for more than a year. So she'll still have a big part to play, even if she's not playing every single minute.
Yeah, definitely. Then on the left flank, it's Atkinson. She played most of the minutes last season. They don't really have another left winger, but Sharp could play over there. Kato can play out there. I'm sure other players can do a job there, so they're all okay in that regard. And then up front, we think Elise Hughes will probably start in that role. We may see Gelia come in and be that option eventually, but I see no reason why you'd change Hughes. She was phenomenal. She joined at the
Yeah.
start of last season, and she was an excellent throughout the whole
Yeah.
Women's Championship season. I think she will come in and be their star player again, a bit like Emily Thestrup was for Bristol City
Yeah.
last season, where in those tough games she might just get a goal. And if she
That's the
can
thing.
do that more often than not, Palace might be okay this season.
And that's the thing. Hughes plays a pivotal role because Palace will not survive if they don't get the ball in the back of the net. Hughes is crucial in this Palace side. If she can get the goals, or if they can create chances for her, she's got to take them. And we know how good she can be, and if she does take them, Palace will have a very good shot at this league. Because as we've seen before, Bristol City, yes, they leaked so many goals last year, but they didn't score enough as well as the
Yeah.
problem. So they'll be hoping they can get Hughes firing. If they can get players to supply her with chances, we know she's got the quality to take them, and then we know that they're going to find the back of the net. So that's the main thing for Palace, is get some goals on the board. Get shots away, get the ball to Hughes, and let her do what she does best.
Yeah, definitely so. And then the only player we haven't mentioned yet is Larkin. She's a very young striker, 19 years old, quite highly rated by all accounts by the academy staff. I wouldn't be surprised if she got a loan move this season for her own development, and so that they can save another registration spot. That wouldn't massively surprise me, because you are limited to 25, I believe. But to be fair, she is under 21, so I think she would be separate to that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Palace bring in a few more players. We'll see how they get on. I mean, there's still 2 weeks to the start of the season now. Obviously, they've still got a little bit of time after that to make signings. So I think we might see some movement up until the start of October. So yeah.
And I think if we do see some movement, it's going to be smart. We've seen already from Palace's business, they've been very smart with their signings. I think they're only going to bring players in if they feel it's a good deal, because so far they've got every deal right, and if they keep doing that smart business, they're just going to keep getting better and better on paper.
Yes, let's have a look at their first 5 fixtures then, because seasons can be made or broken in the opening encounters. And the first game of the season, Tottenham away, really tough match. This is on the Sunday, I believe. Really tough game. I think that they will be looking to do damage limitation in this match. It's the kind of game, though, where you never know. Maybe they can come in and do something. Tottenham have had big losses with Bizet and Clinton. Obviously, they've added Hayley Raso, which is a big signing. But I think the losses of Bizet and Clinton will be big. I don't think that's enough, though. I don't think Palace have done enough to close up that gap.
Yeah.
That's a really tough way to start the season. And then it only gets more difficult next time out as they welcome Chelsea to, I believe they play in Sutton. I can't remember the stadium name, though. They welcome Chelsea there. That's going to be another really, really tough game.
Yeah.
But those opening 2 games, it's going to be very much welcome to the WSL.
Yeah,
You're playing some tough tides.
Those 2 games is the main factor is A, the performance, and B, their pride. Because in the Chelsea game, let's be honest, Chelsea will win that game. But as we saw with Bristol City last season, they got smacked 8 past them. Bristol City,
They were down by that point.
They were. But Crystal Palace, they've got to, think of their performance. They could still play well. They might lose, but they could still concede 3 or 4 to Chelsea. But they could still play well. They've got to show pride that they're here and show that they do care. They're here. They can't afford to get battered in that game. If they keep it 3-4-5, that's not too bad at all, really.
Yeah, definitely so. And then the next 2 games I think will be absolutely crucial for them. Leicester on Sunday the 6th of October, Brighton on Sunday the 13th of October. Probably the most important games for them this season. The Brighton one especially, since that's at home.
Yeah.
They're the type of games that if Crystal Palace can win, if they came out of these first 5 matches, they play Liverpool in the 5th match. It's a very tough game. But that is away as well, so tough one that. But if they can come out of those first 5 games with 6 points, that's an incredible start. That's an incredible start. So the Leicester game, the Brighton game, huge matches, but if they want to stay in the WSL, they're the type of games they've got to get points from this season. That is the simple fact of it.
I think Kaminsky will aim for 6, as you say. I think she'd be very happy with 4.
Even 3. I think you would take 3.
3 means you've won a game, or you've drawn 3, which means you've either got a point at Liverpool, Chelsea, or Tottenham. So I think they'll take that. So yeah, it's
great defensive record at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're drawing every game 5-5.
Which I think
great scoring record.
You're going to stay up on doing that, But yeah, just get points. I think the main thing is to get points to the board. If they come out of these first 5 games on 0 points, they're in a very tough spot.
Yeah, they definitely would be. But I think they'll come into the season with confidence, or with belief at least. I think they'll make a really good go of it this season. I think we said this in the Brighton video, but with Turden leaving Brighton and With West Ham, they've lost a couple of players as well. With Everton losing Piemonte, I think the relegation fight's going to be really close this year. I think Palace are definitely going to offer more of a fight than Bristol City does. And if we're sitting here in about 6 months' time with Palace not bottom of the league, I think that's a huge credit to them.
Yeah,
that's a
definitely.
huge credit to them. So, yeah, we'll see. I think it's been really tight this season. I think Palace are going to make a very good go of it, though. But that is everything for this preview. Do you think you'll stay up? They'll stay up, yes or no? That's a fun little prediction.
I think they will give it a good go.
That is very
diplomatic
answer.
I'm not saying... Well, I can't call it at this point, but I think I think whoever gets relegated will be relegated on the final day. I think it'll go right down to the wire.
Fair enough. You are going to have to make a call when we do our predictions video in about 2 weeks' time. But until then, we're remaining diplomatic. Thank you guys very, very much for watching today's preview. There'll be another one on screen now. We are going to be doing a preview for every single WSL side. So if you just want it, if you love Crystal Palace and want to expand your knowledge on all the other teams, then make sure to do that. Or if you're another fan that wants to know a bit about Palace, well, look out because your side will be coming very soon. Or we may have already done it. So go and check out the rest of the series. But that is everything from us today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.